Corruption is very powerful, and it can happen very quickly.
He calls me, tells me to watch, and I go, holy shit.
Yeah, this is dirty. This is dirty. A dead cop in a front yard. That would be front page news. Absolutely 100%. There'd be 1,000 people at that scene.
We worked so hard to maintain the public trust.
Brian Albert says he didn't wake up.
Is a lie.
And you're going to get caught.
Yeah.
I said they're dirty cops. So when you have a entire police department and it's 20 people, guess what? If most of them are dirty, you're going to be dirty too.
Yep.
Everything is cameras.
Everything's tracked.
Everywhere.
Everything's tracked.
If people are inside and they're not answering, that's going to look suspicious. Hey, dude, you're a cop. You got a dead cop in your front yard. Do you know that? My name is Bryon. I'm 53. I worked for Metro Police here in Las Vegas for 22 years. I did a couple different assignments, but the bulk of my career was spent in patrol. I love patrol. I'm a road dog. I like being out on the street. I like being the first one there. To me, patrol is like doing God's work, and you get all the excitement.
My name is Bryon Gonzo. I joined the department when I was 34, a little bit long in the tooth. Moved down here, decided to join the best department in the nation, which is Metro, because of the training and just the experiences that we have. I enjoyed my job. I really enjoyed my job. It wasn't that we're going to save everybody, but we just need to save somebody. Yeah. Or help somebody.
Help somebody every day. If we can make a difference, a little bit of a difference every night, that to me, that was a win. We're basically together all night.
Yeah.
Most nights for years.
Yeah.
And we had a ton of fun.
Ton of fun.
We had
the area that we worked in, you could hunt or you could take it easy. So hunting, meaning go after guns and drugs. And that would be Dean Martin Corridor. And that's where all the prostitutes and all the pimps hung out. If we wanted to have a good night and have fun, we'd go down there. If we wanted to have a chill night, we'd go to our area, our sector beats, which is more residential.
I would go and hunt crackheads or tweakers if I wanted to. And then 10 minutes later, I get a call to Spanish Hills, and I'm at, Randall Cunningham's house.
Yeah.
Or, like, I've been to Roseanne Barr's house. I've been to Nicolas Cage. Been to his house. I've been to Floyd Mayweather's house a bunch of times. I've been to Randall Cunningham's house. Jenna Jameson's house. I've been to Vince Neil's house like 3-4 times. Where else would you get that? But we don't have the corruption back east like out here.
No.
It couldn't happen. It can't, because the way Metro's run, it couldn't happen. Even in our smaller units like Dope,
Narcs,
Narcs and Vice, they're small units, 5-8 guys. But to do something like with a Karen Reed, it's not going to happen.
It's an individual crime is what happened.
Yeah.
It's an individual crime.
Yeah. It's a dead cop in a front yard. That would be front page news. Absolutely 100%. There'd be 1,000 people at that scene. No one would be able to cover up anything.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yep.
It ain't gonna happen.
It wouldn't happen.
So you think the corruption has a lot to do with the size of the department?
And that's just it.
Exactly.
For us, our department, we have 3,000 police officers, right? Then we have NHP, and then we have the COs. For us, for that to happen here, it can't happen because we're just such a big department, and everybody's always moving to different sector beats, different area commands.
They're not so much corrupt; they're just doing something stupid, like taking cash from people and using their Metro gas card to pump people gas. Like, we've actually had a guy do that. He got fired.
Yeah.
Like, how dumb do you have to be? You throw away an entire career for $20 cash for some gas, and you're going to get caught.
Yeah.
Here in Vegas, everything is cameras.
Everything's tracked.
Everywhere.
Everything's tracked.
Everywhere. Especially when you come down the strip, you're not getting 5 feet without being on film. And they have all the facial recognition, so they recognize you. They'll see who you are before you even come in the building. But there's some stupid cops. But the big corruption stuff, no, it ain't gonna happen.
It's the size and the longevity of what you're dealing with that officers get away with certain things and they talk about it, and the other officer wants to try it, and they all kind of, now they're involved. Yeah. Now they're in it to win it, right? So they can't do anything besides keep going forward. and keep doing the corruption.
You know, when they see the movies like Training Day, and some people think, like my wife, when she watched it, she's like, does that really happen? No, it's a movie. People have to remember,
well,
you know,
remember Rampart,
right? So it does happen, but it's just so rare. But I noticed on the East Coast, because I'm from Philly, when I was trying to be a cop back there, I noticed there's so many little counties, and there's, you know, 30 different police departments in 10 square miles, and they don't communicate with each other. They don't talk to each other. So when you have a entire police department and it's 20 people, guess what? If most of them are dirty, you're going to be dirty too.
Yep, eventually.
So that's what I think with the Proctor and all them in Canton. It's a small, like you said, it's real small. There's only so many cops. If half of them are dirty, or even just a couple are dirty, everybody all of a sudden is dirty. Corruption is very powerful, and it can happen very quickly. And you really have to be on guard, because as a cop, you can really get away with stuff.
So how did you guys first find out about the Karen Reed case?
Good, Bryon.
I found out from my wife. We were hanging out, and she's like, hey, I said, what are you watching? Because like I said, she watches a lot of court TV. And she's like, I'm watching this fascinating case about Karen Reed and these cops. And she goes, I think they're dirty. She goes, can I tell you some stuff about it? And I said, sure. So she told me about 10 minutes worth of stuff after she had already watched Proctor, Paul, Higgins. So my wife knows everything about this case inside and out. So she tells me some things, and I'm like, that ain't right.
Right.
That ain't right. That ain't right at all. And I said, so after 10 minutes, I said, those are dirty cops.
He calls me, tells me to watch, and I go, holy shit.
Yeah. I said, they're dirty cops, honey. That's all. They're dirty cops. You know, let it go.
You knew right away.
And then she says, you need to do a video on this because these are dirty cops. So I was like, okay. And she's like, my wife's like, what's your biggest video, highest watched video? And it was a bad sergeant, bad lieutenant. It wasn't court. It was a deposition. But she's like, that's your highest one. Why don't you do this and see how it goes? And I said, you know what? You're right. Because they're dirty cops and we do cops. I said, okay. And I mentioned it to him, mentioned it to Steve. We filmed it, and then boom, it just blew up.
He prefers to be called Producer Steve.
Producer Steve.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
For me, it was the text messages that he was exchanging with his boys.
So bad, right?
Listen, when we have an officer-involved fatality, that's the last thing that's going to happen. I mean, the amount of resources that's going to be deployed through that scene, there isn't going to be no text messages. Yeah, she's going to take the rap and all that explicit stuff that he was saying. From when I heard that, I go, this guy is 100% on the wrong side.
Yeah. And then when I found out that both of the guys got rid of their phones a day before the order came out on September 23rd that they were going to need their phones. Proctor calling Karen every name in the book, texting people, telling everybody about the case, not using the Canton PD interview rooms, not filming. We always film interviews. Every interview is filmed and recorded. They didn't do it for him. So all these things, and they said, oh, what was the damage to the body? She's like, well, there's no pictures, no CSI. And I'm like, wait a minute, stop. How is there no CSI? We would have 1,000 pictures of this guy. The way, just everything she told me, I'm like, this is dirty. This is dirty.
Yeah.
So and I was like, you know what? We need to do this.
How would the investigation have been different if you guys had rolled up to the scene?
So basically, if him and I were working patrol, right, and we got a call, hey, they would say there's a 419, which means a dead body here in Vegas. There's a 419 at this address. Show us en route. So we would go. When we get there, first thing we would do is get everybody away from the body.
Separate each other.
Separate every witness. Get everybody separated, because that way they can't talk. Crime scene tape. We would tape off probably more than a half of a football. We would actually close down the whole street. If there's a dead person in the driveway, we would probably close both ends of the street. So no cars. This way, when arriving traffic, all the units coming, because everybody in the world's coming, plenty of room for everybody to park, right? You got to think about the command, we call it a CP, command post. So a command post is going to be set up.
Egress and egress for medical vehicles.
Yeah. Have medical come in, get his name, where he worked, find out family members who was there. Bryon Albert says he didn't wake up.
Is a lie.
That's a lie.
Because you know what? I'd be knocking on that door over and over and over. Hey, dude, you're a cop. You got a dead cop in your front yard. Do you know that? So the fact that he says he never even came outside to investigate what was going on. A normal person would come out and see what's going on.
You got the nosy neighbors, man. They people walk down the street, they're looking out the window.
So we would get the scene tight. Then we would start breaking down, and the detectives would show up. They would start pulling people into their cars and interview them in the car, recorded. CSI would come out. They would take 1 million pictures. Everything would be done. Nobody would even touch John O'Keefe's body.
Now, if they scooped and swooped, right, like the medical people did, we would annotate exactly where the head is, where the center mass is, and which direction it was laying.
Yeah, we would take pictures before they left. Even if it's with your phone, and you got to take some pictures.
We'd cone it. We'd cone it out. We call it cone it out.
Yep.
So we'd cone it out. So whoever comes to investigate knows exactly where and how far the body was.
Right.
There ain't no guessing. Well, I think he was here. No.
Right.
We would know to the inch of where his head was.
Yep. And everybody would start getting interviewed, and they would be out there for probably 15 to 20 hours.
Yeah.
That long.
Minimum.
Yep. And there would be pictures. They would get the blood. They would go through the scene. They would slowly let get the snow melting and do what they need to do. They would look at the car. They would impound the car. And then our CSI would test the vehicle because they're saying, hey, she hit him, rear-ended him, right, and it hit his head. They would test that and see, like, how much damage can a head take and how much does it take to break the tailpipe or the taillights. So
just like Tall, Dark, and Handsome did.
Yeah. we would do all of that. I mean, that would be a typical scene here in Las Vegas.
Especially with the officer involved.
If it's an officer, you're going to double everything almost.
In your department, who would handle all of the forensic testing?
Testing would be, everybody has their own isolated job. CSI does nothing else but pictures, blood, gather all the evidence. That's all CSI does. Mm-hmm. It's not like the TV show where they're interviewing people and kicking doors. That'll never happen in a million years. If the show showed them what there really was, there wouldn't be no show because it's so boring.
Yeah, we have a detail that strictly deals with pedestrian accidents. Mm-hmm. And when there's a fatality, they roll out they take the scene.
Yep.
And they take the vehicle, and those are the people that, if they can't do it themselves, they will hire a specialist, an expert, that come out and try to reconstruct what happened.
Yeah.
Did you hear the testimony from the ARCA experts?
We're doing Dr. Wolf, right?
He's dreamy.
Dreamy. Dr. Wolf. So I haven't seen the ARCA guys, but I do remember seeing part of Dr. Wolf saying he did not die from a car. That did not happen.
After I watched his video, I think my IQ went up like 100 points.
I know, very impressive.
Right?
But I don't, just from what I saw, I wouldn't say that the taillight, he did not die from getting hit from a car.
No way.
I've seen enough people hit by cars and accidents and deaths. He did not get hit by that car. He might have gotten hit, but it didn't.
Going 26 miles an hour.
It didn't kill him.
It doesn't happen. You have to run over his head for him to die.
Yeah, he only had trauma to the head. So that means
John's head was pulverized.
You have a dead cop in the front yard of another cop.
Right.
That door is getting knocked on until he answers. Mm-hmm. If people are inside and they're not answering, that's going to look suspicious. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
That's going to look suspicious. So then if nobody ever comes out, they will wait because we're going to be at that scene all day.
Right.
All day. 10, 12, 15, 20 hours. Right? Because not only is fatal coming out, homicide's coming out. Mm-hmm. Right? Homicide details coming out, and those guys are good. They don't miss anything. Our homicide team solves 92%, 93% of homicides here in Vegas. Our homicide is awesome. They're coming out. They're going to want to interview everybody. Mm-hmm. Everybody, including in the house.
Even Chloe.
Mm-hmm. But to get into the house, there's not a big reason to get into the house, but
only if there's a blood trail.
Yeah, blood trail or a drag trail.
Right.
Dragging the body, right? Or carrying, and they're 2 sets of footprints, different shoes, carrying the body out the backyard. That's the stuff. They're going to look for all that stuff. I don't know, we are.
Right.
So we're going to eventually find, where do these footprints lead to?
The basement.
The basement of this house.
Yeah.
Now we're building probable cause. Mm-hmm. Now we're starting to build that, you know what? Whoever comes out of that door, as soon as that door opens, grab them. We step inside and we do what's called a premise freeze.
Yep.
The house is now, everybody out of the house.
It's ours.
It's our house now until the detectives get there with a warrant to go through it. So they could have done that. But as the suspicion builds, your probable cause will slowly build.
Okay.
But there's no way that a cop inside the house who says he didn't hear all that, and when people say we were in that house partying, there's no way he's not getting interviewed by homicide here. No way. He's absolutely getting interviewed. Everybody in that house would have been interviewed.
You can ask for consent to go into the house.
Yeah.
Right? And if they agree, they let you in, then you can just visualize what you can see as far as evidence is concerned. But up until you have enough probable cause to go into it, there's no reason to go into it.
Makes sense.
Yeah, he's safe in the house until probable cause is built enough for a search warrant.
Yeah.
I see.
Unfortunately, that's the way it goes.
How does it make you feel seeing all this corruption happen?
Listen, we work so hard to maintain the public trust.
Yeah.
Really hard. And when something like this happens, it doesn't matter what agency it is. It affects nationwide. It takes us back years.
Yeah.
You know, and public trust is the hardest thing to gain, especially when all we do is respond to bad situations.
Yeah.
You know, we're taking people's rights. What is that you say? We cost them money.
We cost them money. We cost them time, and we could take their life.
Yeah. So it's nothing good when we show up. So when I see something like that happen, I worry about my fellow officers that are still on the job. You know, what kind of repercussions is this going to have to them? Now, unfortunately, for Proctor, he's done.
Right.
He is completely done as far as any career that he has, especially with social media these days. Now, if this happened 15, 20 years ago, you go to a next door agency and get the job that you had right before.
Correct.
But now with social media, it's you're almost hanging yourself.
Every one of those guys' career is over.
Yeah. Yeah.
In law enforcement, every one of them is done. It's not. Even if they'll never admit it, and we know the truth. You know what I mean? It's not rocket science.
No, it's not.
Every one of those guys, they're lying.
Don't be saying rocket science to Paul.
Yeah, Paul. They're lying on the stand. They're lying under oath.
Yeah.
You know, everybody knows they're covering up, man. I mean, with all the evidence that we've got, it's, I mean, come on, it's plain as day. So none of those guys are going to work in law enforcement ever again. And how do I feel about it? It pisses me off because you try to go your whole career doing the right thing. And, you know, even if you get in trouble or your buddy gets in trouble,
Fall on the sword, dude.
Fall on the sword. That's what we always say. Here at Metro, if you get caught lying during an investigation, it's an automatic termination.
Yep.
You're fired. Gone, because they don't like liars. So here in Vegas, all the cops, man, we tell the truth. We tell the truth because
he might be my best friend, but if my job's on the line, sorry, pal.
Yeah, and I wouldn't do that to him. I wouldn't expect him to lie to cover for me and risk his career and his freedom because I messed up. So I'm going to take the bullet. I'm going to take the heat, and I'm going to take the rap, and I'm going to say, you know what? He had nothing to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
It doesn't stop there. All the cases that he was involved in are going to be persecuted, right?
Yep.
From the very beginning. So that department might be facing some big time lawsuits if some more dirt is uncovered.
Yeah, big backlash too, boy.
And the thing is too is you might have a few officers on that department that are good guys, right? But knew of the antics that was going on. That's a heavy burden that they have to carry. Right? So however their investigation, their internal investigation comes across to them and say, hey, you knew this and you didn't say anything, they could be terminated too. Because we have what's called failure to intervene.
Failure to intervene, yeah.
How does that work?
Meaning if me and him are working and I'm beating sparks off of somebody and I'm like basically almost beating this guy to death, and if he doesn't stop me, he'll get fired too.
Is that national?
It is now.
Is it now?
It is now, yeah.
It started here
years ago.
Like 2013, maybe 15. It started here about 10 years ago, give or take. Because at first we were like, duty to intervene. Like, you know, when it first comes out, you're like, I'm not telling a senior officer what to do. Like, if he's beating sparks, maybe there's a reason he is. But then you learn quickly, like, you got to step in. And I actually had a guy step in when I was dumping on a dude. And grabbed me, and he goes, "Whoa, nice job, buddy." He goes, "Go take a break. We got this."
Yeah.
And I didn't.
Careers.
Yeah, I was like a 1-year cop, and I didn't even realize it. But the guy I was hitting, he was unconscious.
What happened?
We had a big pursuit. He caused a lot of damage. He hurt a lot of people. I was a new cop, so did I take it personal? Yeah. And he punched me.
Well, the thing is too, I mean, listen, that department's old school. It really is. For us, the old guys retire. But when I got on, and my very first foot pursuit when I was a rookie, I ended up catching the guy. My sergeant comes up to me. He goes, "Why is he not going to the hospital?" I go, "Well, he's out of breath. He's okay, though." He goes, "Gonzo, nobody that runs with us does not go to the hospital. If they run, they're going to the hospital." But that dynamic has changed dramatically to where it's a kinder, gentler department, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Because ultimately we have the power to take somebody's life, and that's the last thing we want to do.
Yeah.
Right.
Take their freedom.
Yeah.
You take their freedom. You take someone's freedom. That's a big deal.
It really is.
Not that we ran around just beating people up. Metro had a really good reputation of, look, man, we don't play games. Okay, we ask you, we tell you, we make you.
Yeah.
And it's going to be very violent. But that's how you stay safe.
Yeah.
Let me tell you this quick story.
Please.
When the tasers came out in the Latin community, they were known as lasers, not tasers, because they couldn't say the tasers. They said, "Don't run, they're going to shoot you with the lasers."
At Northeast, they called it the chair.
What?
Yeah.
Chair, the electric chair.
Yeah.
Like, don't give me the chair, man. I had guys at gunpoint, and they're like, "I don't give a shit. Shoot me." You pull out the taser, they're like, "Oh, shit. Okay." It's funny. They didn't care about a gun because they know we're not going to shoot them.
Right.
But the taser, we can tase them.
50,000 volts of pure love.
Oh, that taser's horrible.
Why do you think so many good cops stay silent?
So this is what I think. I think that the corruption runs deep and high.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So
Me
I
too.
think that an officer that is on the good side, if he shows support, he might have repercussions coming his way. Not necessarily in a bad way, but hey, you're not going to be doing foot patrol.
Yeah.
Right? And now that's just in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But if the corruption runs deep, shit runs downhill. So they want to stay away from that shit. This is one of the few jobs besides the military that you will die for somebody that you completely don't even know.
That's right.
Trying to help them.
Yeah.
And that's a consequence that Bryon and I both took it on. But here in Las Vegas, when an officer goes down, it's a citywide mourning. I mean, his pictures, P numbers on the billboards.
The strip will go blue.
Yep.
The whole strip. All the casinos will turn their lights blue. Like, it's a big deal here. Like, there's not much of a bigger deal than it happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's easier for them just to not say anything and appear not to take a side.
Yep.
It could be. Could be they just want to get it over with, let it disappear, and be done.
Listen, mud is on their face, blood is on their hands.
Yeah. Yeah.
You like that?
Mm-hmm. I do like that.
How much experience do you guys have working with the feds? And are you aware of the federal investigation in this case?
Mm-hmm.
I'm aware of it. We're aware of it. And listen, you're not going to hear anything about what's going on with the feds. Mm-mm. When it's done, you're going to see how deep this web really runs.
Yeah.
Because they're going to dig every stone, turn every stone, and dig every cave. They're just going to dig deep.
Yeah.
So when the feds come out, and the DOJ is involved as well, I believe.
Yeah. It's going to be a shitstorm.
But we've never had to deal with the feds on our side.
No, anytime I dealt with the feds out on certain calls, if I needed to call them or they responded, it was, they're good people.
Yeah.
They're good people. But why? Are we going to hear anything about this, like in the news or anything? Nope. You're not going to hear anything until the feds have everything shut tight. And they're like, all right, this is what we have. This is what happened. And here's who's going to jail.
Prison.
Unless the corruption, the FBI, nowadays when you look at the NSA and CIA and FBI, Secret Service, ATF, it's I don't know. I don't diss on them by any means. It just doesn't mean what it used to mean 10, 20, 30 years ago.
Yeah. It's
almost like sometimes they almost seem weaponized for certain things. And I don't like it. But, what can I do? But if the feds and the DOJ are going to go after them, if they're honest, it is going to be a lot to uncover, and it's going to get bad. Yep. It's really going to be bad for those officers.
Yeah, that's one thing I'm concerned about, is that maybe it runs so deep that they just decide we can't take down the whole state of Massachusetts. I mean, these people might be all connected. like in politics and
Correct.
law enforcement and
Correct.
the judiciary.
It could be that wild. Like, we don't really know, right? I mean, it could be some kind of crazy, wild story, and everyone's like, holy shit. Like, wow.
I'll tell you.
We don't know. It could be something simple.
Listen.
It seems like it's pretty simple, right? Either the love triangle or dirty cops, and John was going to rat him out, and they thumped him.
I'm going to say something that's probably not going to be too popular, but I'm going to say it anyway. So when you have one of your first officers up there commit suicide, then you know something's deep.
With the ones that are in trouble, you mean?
Yeah. Yeah, or somebody that might not be directly in trouble, but just involved in the situation.
Interesting.
And he happens to take his life because he knows he's going to prison.
Yeah, that'd be something.
If the dots connect, it ain't a conspiracy. If the dots connect, it's not a theory.
That's right.
It is what it is.
The evidence.
It is what it is.
We deal with evidence.
Yeah, I connect dots, and if it's looks like a duck, walks like a duck, it's a duck. Now, you can lie all you want, but again, it's hard to cheat evidence.
And it's hard to keep a lie up.
And it's hard to keep a lie with that many people going on and on and on.
Right. Can you guys talk a little bit about internal affairs? So we know that their internal affairs for the Mass State Police are looking at Proctor and Tully and Buchanan, but I kind of get the sense that they're only covering their own ass because they waited till the trial was over to announce that they're looking into Proctor, which leads me to believe that if Karen was found guilty, he might have just got off and they wouldn't have done anything, right? They said the day after the trial, we immediately took action and opened an investigation into Michael Proctor's activity, and they're focusing it on the text messages when we know there's so much more they could be looking at. Is internal affairs, are they really looking for the truth, or are they kind of just to cover their own ass and talk to the media?
Well, their feet are to the fire, right? They have to do something.
Maybe.
Right? So
maybe they're dirty just like everybody else.
They could be very dirty as well, and they're just trying to do what they can to CYA their butt, like you're saying. Yep. But a real good internal affairs, man, they're going to go after the cop. They're going to find out what policies he violated. If he violated any civil rights of the person, right, they're going to hammer him that way. But that's if you have a clean IB department.
Yeah, if they're dirty. I mean, you got to remember, IA is the police of the police, right, kind of. They can get away with more than a lot of other people.
Yeah.
They can get away with a lot.
Yeah.
Right? Especially if you're high up in IA, captain or whatever. You could do a lot of damage.
Make that event go away.
Yeah, even in Vegas, I would have to say, IA could do some things if they wanted to, because no one really looks into IA, right?
Yeah.
And that's the problem with IA, right? Nobody really looks into them, right? Now, Vegas does. We do have something. I'm not going to say anything, but we do have something to keep track.
Them at bay.
To keep them at bay. Not every department does, though. So they could have absolutely just said, you know what? If she goes to prison, we're good.
Yeah.
If she doesn't, you guys are screwed.
Yep.
So you better get her in prison. You better make this look good. Easily could have happened that way. Easily the head person in charge said, make this go away right now or you're going to prison. I could see that happening just like that. Or they could say, let's play it where it lies. Let's see what happens.
There's going to be some sacrificial lambs.
There's going to be some sacrificial lambs. And then once the news hit and Proctor and everybody is totally just making fools of themselves, now he's like, okay, we got to do something. Bro, we got to do something. This dude's
the best we got.
We got to do something. We got to do something. So
that's what it feels like to me.
Yeah, it could kind of go either way. I would hope that they're not dirty and they're just saying, you know what, we better look into this. This is now we're starting to really look bad. Now, they probably thought it wasn't going to be as big
exactly
as it was. So now the whole nation knows about it. So now they're under the microscope. They better do their job or they will not have jobs.
Interesting. Speaking of that, what's the process to terminate a police officer, and how does the union come into play with that?
Well,
I've never been fired, so I don't.
Yeah, me neither. But I mean, I've been on some. I've spoken at a couple people's arbitrations. Like October 1st, I was one of the guys who went through the door on October 1st here. Saw a lot of cowards that night. A lot of cowards, and some of them got fired.
I'm sorry. What are you referring to?
It's just
The biggest mass murder in Las Vegas.
Yeah, October 1st, the October 1st shooting here in Vegas. Jason Aldean, remember?
Concert.
Biggest active shooter in U.S. history.
At that concert?
It was the Route 91 active shooter.
1 October.
It happened on 1 October 2017.
Gotcha. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, it's all good. That's where the suspect was shooting outside of Mandalay Bay. He was in the hotel room, and he was shooting down onto the crowd.
Yes.
He shot like over 500 people that night. So I was up there anyway.
Wow.
Arbitration.
Yeah. It depends on what the charges are. You can get put on admin leave with pay. You can get put on admin leave without pay. That's usually without pay is you messed up. You violated someone. You basically committed a crime. And that's when they're going to get you with admin leave without pay. And that's what I believe Proctor, he might be without pay now with everything that's come out. They probably put him on admin leave with pay first. Now it's probably without pay because they're seeing, dude, you really messed up. The union, in Vegas, the union will protect you unless you commit a crime.
Yeah.
If you commit a crime
And charged with it.
and you're charged with it, like let's say me and Gonzo go out and we commit armed robbery as cops, right? We put up, we rob somebody. The union's going to be like,
Done.
no. So they can kind of pick and choose who they want to represent, as long as if you committed a crime, they're not going to represent you. So depending on the situation after that, it's actually pretty easy to get fired, because if the sheriff says, look, I want him gone, and it meets the matrix, like if it's that serious,
He has the final say.
the sheriff has the final say. And if the sheriff says you're fired, you're fired. Now, then you can go to arbitration
And try to get a job back.
and the two lawyers battle it out, and you try to get your job back. That has happened a bunch of times here with Metro. I helped a guy who got his job back. He was a great cop. So it really depends on the scenario, the crime, if there's any charges.
But they won't protect you if you lie, though. If
They're
you
not
get
going
caught lying.
Yeah, if you get caught lying, they won't protect you. And if it's a crime, they won't protect you.
Yeah.
So it's hard to lose your job if you're a good cop.
Yeah.
I mean, I made it 22 years. He made it 20 years. I never even had a problem. You know, did I get in trouble a couple times? Yeah, but nothing serious.
But you have to kind of get in trouble because you're working on that.
You're always
gray area,
You're always
right?
in the gray. So cops, you're going to get in trouble here and there because you can't please everybody. But so if you're a good cop, it's kind of hard to get fired. If you're a bad cop or crooked cop, they will get you.
They look at you eventually. Yep.
Eventually, you're going to slip up. You're going to say something or whatever, or somebody's going to see you. Like here with Metro, if I see you doing something shady, I'm not going to turn a blind eye. I'm going to be like, what are you doing?
They don't do that here.
Why are you doing that? You know what I mean? Not saying I'm going to drill him, but I'm not getting in trouble for something somebody else is doing.
Especially if he's on your squad.
Yeah. So I think every one of these guys should absolutely be fired.
Oh, yeah.
They shouldn't even be employed now.
I agree.
You can't trust them. You can't trust. Proctor's going to have every case he's ever done torn apart now.
And it's only going to cost you guys money.
Yeah, it's going to cost you guys a lot of money, but they're going to go through every case he's done because they're going to be like, well, he's dirty now. What else did he do? Let's find out, shall we?
Yeah.
And they're going to go through computers, everything he's ever written. And that sucks for him.
Well, you guys got another a case that happened a while ago about a girl that got murdered, or she was pregnant or something like that.
Yeah, Sandra Birchmore.
Yep.
So it is?
Birchmore.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they some people wanted us to do that case. I haven't looked at it yet.
You definitely
but we might.
should.
That looks dirty to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, strangulations. Yeah, that's hard to prove. It really is.
That's an odd way. I've had a bunch of those in person, like here at Metro in my career, with the same thing with the doorknob, and it's.
You have to be dedicated, man.
You got to be dedicated, and I don't know, man, because the one of them that I was out, the detectives rolled out.
Oh, really?
Because the mom was adamant that her boyfriend was here, and I believed her, and I said, okay, well, let's look into this. So I believe you. So let's dig deep.
We need to dig into this one.
Yeah.
We'll look into it.
Yeah.
Nice.
But that's a shame, man. That's a shame. We might have to do that one.
Was he in uniform when he came in?
No.
Okay.
No.
He wouldn't be that stupid.
Well, we're talking about.
He was stupid. So none of them work there anymore. There's 3 guys who are kind of involved. One was like some kind of in a leadership position, and the other 2 were, I think, regular.
Well, but yeah, they got fired probably because of the alleged sexual assault, right?
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's horrible.
I'm fascinated by what you said about the 2017 shooting. Can you tell me that story, or is that something you don't want to talk about?
But I was there. I was acting sergeant that night. I had a rifle. Everybody's freaking out on the radio, screaming and yelling. It's the worst radio traffic I've ever heard in Metro history.
We thought it was a Mumbai incident.
Yeah, I thought it was Mumbai. I thought...
179 is coming from upstairs in the Mandalay Bay. Upstairs in Mandalay Bay, halfway up. I see the shots coming from Mandalay Bay. Halfway up. Patrol 361 IC. We have multiple 458 breaks. Give me a surge.
So I had a rifle. They're screaming for people with rifles. I get to Mandalay Bay. I get a 4-man team. We make entry. Going through the casino. That's when I run into Levi, the SWAT officer. We go upstairs. We go through the room. We get into the room.
Mind you, this guy's got cameras set up outside of his door so he can monitor who's coming.
Yeah, he's got cameras. And he shot down the hallway, 208 rounds down the hallway. Whoa. He drilled the doors shut, so we had to breach. We had to blow it up. Then when I left that room, we ran down to, they're saying active shooter at New York, New York. So I'm running down the hallway with my team, and we go down to the basement, get into a Mandalay Bay maintenance cart, because I'm not running anymore. Get into a cart, and we're driving down the boulevard with our rifles in a Mandalay Bay cart, heading towards New York, New York.
There's one that came on at 23:06 hours, secondhand. There was a shooter at the front desk of New York, New York. And there's approximately 150 subjects sheltered in place inside the kitchen area there. And 2 shots were fired inside casino floor.
Because I was like, I'm getting something tonight. I'm doing something to help this city. Then I ended up at the door of Route 91, which was the festival where the shooting happened. FD's standing there, and they're like, hey, we need, they're flagging us down. Like, hey, we need to get in here. So I was like, is this Route 91? This is where the concert was? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, y'all ain't been in there yet? It's been like an hour and a half. These people are shot on the ground.
Wow.
And they're like, we can't go, it's too dangerous. So we did what's called force protection. So we do a diamond around FD, right? So cop front, back, side, FD's in the middle. I was front, right? So I'm lead. It's dark. It was eerie, probably one of the eeriest things I've ever seen in my life and felt. And
all you see is bodies.
Yeah, it was like a Civil War scene. And there's bodies everywhere, and there's like phones ringing, and remember it's dark, so there's like wigs and prosthetics and wheelchairs and purses. Yeah, so what I did is I led the team to each person, right? Light them up with my light so we can see their injuries, check for signs of life, black tag for dead. So. Yeah, we ran out of black tags.
50.
Yeah.
58.
Yeah, we ran out of black tags.
Horrible.
It was horrible. Being out on the field was worse than going through the door. Because going through the door, I'm like, all right, we're going to get in a gunfight. At least we're going to get to smoke some of these fools. Going out on the field, it was mostly women.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no.
And it was elevated. So all the shots were in the ear, face, neck.
Upper torso.
Chest. And it was horrible, man. Yeah.
You stormed his room, and then you went down to the concert to help people?
Yeah, we did like 20 hours. When I got out of my car on the boulevard in Russell, he had just stopped shooting. probably, I want to say, I think they said on record it was like 38 minutes from the time we came into Mandalay Bay and got up to the room and made entry. It was like 38 minutes, 40 minutes.
That's a long
so
time.
It was a little bit, but he had stopped shooting. And then, so our goal was to bring his attention to us. So start shooting at us.
Oh my God.
Safe people, right? Right? If you're going to shoot at somebody, shoot at us. Because at least we can shoot back, right? So that was our goal. And then obviously to get in there and stop them. No.
But he took the coward's way out.
He took the coward's way out.
The authorities have confirmed now that he shot himself. They did not kill him after breaching and getting inside the hotel room.
What's going through your mind in a situation like that? Are you just pure adrenaline in the zone?
No, I've learned to control my adrenaline.
It's business.
It's business.
It's business.
I was pissed. I was pissed that this guy is killing all these innocent people for no reason.
We have an active shooter. We have an active shooter inside the whereabouts.
Copy, code red at 169 Sam, easy up shot.
179 Sam Easy is coming from upstairs in the Mandalay Bay. Upstairs, Mandalay Bay, halfway up. I see the shots coming from Mandalay Bay. Halfway up.
It's fireworks! It's fireworks! Stop! It's fireworks! God! Hey, keep them down! Hey, you guys! Go that way! Get out of here! There's gunshots coming from over there! Go that way! Go that way! There's gunshots right here! Hit my head. Let's go that way, go that way, go that way. Hey, they're shooting right at us, guys. Everybody stay down. Stay down. Where's it at? North of the Mandalay Bay. It's coming out of a window.
Get back! Get back! Get back! I know you want it. Get in there.
And there was dead people everywhere, and I don't even know what was happening. People just started dropping around us, and everybody tried to stay down, and every time like a group would get up to try to run away, they just start shooting again, and it just kept going on and on.
Run, go!
A lot of dead bodies, a lot of people were just piling on top of whoever, even if they're bleeding or not, just to stay down. So I know I have a lot of people's blood on me right now.
Yeah, I'm going to end him. When I find him, I'm going to end him. There's not going to be no taken into custody. You just shot like 500 people. I'm sorry, but I am ending you. Period. There's no discussion. I'm coming through that door, guns blazing. As soon as I see you,
Wow. You guys are heroes. What an experience that must have been, huh?
You know, there were some heroes. There were some heroes there, and a lot of the heroes were the citizens that just helped other people.
yeah. The citizens were the true heroes that night.
They risked their lives as well because they were dragging people under gunfire.
Crazy.
And not enough goes out to them because they really did save a lot of lives. They were commandeering cars on the strip to go to the hospitals, and every hospital activated, what's that called, red?
Yeah.
Activated red means that every doctor available is going to be treating these people that are coming in.
Code red.
So it was a crazy, crazy
It was a night that I feel like, it turns out that me and my team did more than most, but I feel like I didn't do enough.
Yeah.
And we weren't trying. I wasn't trying to do more. I'm a cop.
Doing business.
I handle business. We got an active shooter in Mandalay Bay. I'm going. Once I'm inside, it's done. Okay, well, now we have an active shooter in New York. I'm going. I'm not waiting for people to get dispatched. It's a crazy night. It was like anarchy. So what am I going to do? I'm going to go to New York, and handle business.
Yeah.
Even though I got to drive down the boulevard a half a mile to get there, whatever. I'm going to get there and handle business because the only thing that stops a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun.
Right.
If the good guys don't step up and stop him, who's going to?
Yeah.
No one.
Nobody.
Yep.
He's just going to keep shooting. So we're the good guys with guns.
Yeah.
And like I made my peace with God a long time ago.
Yeah.
You have to, because you could die at any time.
Might be your last day.
Yeah.
That's
and
right.
I'm okay with that. Like I don't want to, but if I have to die on the biggest U.S. massacre, that's an honorable death.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
We did have an officer die.
Yeah. Charles Hartfield.
Yep.
I didn't know that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he's good too.
Yep. He was an attendee there.
That's tragic.
Yeah.
He was at the concert.
Yeah, he's a good dude. He died protecting people.
He's a hero.
Yeah.
You know, like right after October 1st, there was another active shooter, right? In our area, my area, at the Ross, dressed for less. Security guard went crazy, started shooting at everybody in there. Who goes? Me.
Are you serious?
Me and him have a gunfight out front. You can watch that on video.
Good evening, and thank you so much for joining us here at 6 o'clock. I'm Sasha Loftus. Community members are speaking out about the importance of emergency plans after a security guard opened fire at a Ross yesterday.
Police say this started as an altercation between Mahmoud and a female manager at the Ross store. We've learned that they were arguing about a customer who left their shopping cart by the front entrance. Now, police say Mahmoud got angry because the shopping cart was left there. The manager told him over their radio system to stop complaining. Police said things escalated and Mahmoud said, quote, "I'll kill you." He then left the store, got a handgun, came back and fired 16 rounds. Many of them were aimed at the manager as she was running through the store. The body camera footage from the officer shows that as soon as he got out of his car, he was under fire from Mahmoud. The officer fired a total of 5 rounds, hitting Mahmoud once. Now, all this happened in a busy shopping center, and police say they're thankful all the shoppers were unharmed.
Taking someone's life is very different. It changes you forever. After you shoot somebody, it replays in your mind over and over and over, even while you're talking to people. It's the best way to describe
Even when
it
you're
is
driving down the road.
Yeah, it's like picture in picture, right? You ever had a TV with a picture in picture?
Yeah.
It's like that. I might be sitting here talking to you, but I have a little picture screen and it's running over and over. And that was very frustrating for me at first, because it can happen for days and it can drive you nuts. And the shrink told me it's your brain processing it, because everything that happened, your brain can't handle it. So it's every time it's replaying it, it's processing actually what happened. And that could take hours or that could take days.
The thing is it's not normal for you to kill somebody.
Yeah.
So the way it was explained to me is your brain's not processing it.
Yeah.
That's why it's doing it over and over again until it realizes, okay, this is what happened. You're okay with it.
Yep. And then it slowly slows down. And then it goes away.
But it just started back up just now, though. So.
Oh, I hope not.
Anytime, and I mentioned this in a video when we're doing Higgins.
Uh-huh.
At one point, he stares, and he's staring for like 30 seconds. And I say, you see that stare?
He's replaying.
He's replaying what happened that night. He's reliving it. He's looking down, and he's just staring. You get, the 1,000-yard stare?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I know it. I recognize it because I do it. When I'm telling you the October 1st story, I can see what I was doing that night. You every time you tell it, you kind of relive it.
That's crazy.
you know.
But it's a traumatic situation. Those traumatic situations get burned in your mind.
Right.
Yeah, like I still can picture.
Smell it too.
Yeah. You know, all the dead people out on the field. Like I see them all the time. And it sucks. You know, I don't want to see them, but I do. It sucks. But it's just part of life, man. And that's this job can really destroy you if you let it.
Break you down.
So it's, you know,
it's life.
It's tough.
You guys are the people who run into those buildings with shooters, and I think you deserve a lot of credit. And I really appreciate your honesty and your stories. And I mean, this is just an amazing interview. So thank you.
Yeah, we have a million stories.
Thanks, Rich. Yeah, we have a lot.
169 San Means we got shots fired, 415 ASF. Route 291, sounded like an automatic firearm.
Copy, code red at 169 San Means, you have shots.
179 San Means is coming from upstairs in the Mandalay Bay. Upstairs in Mandalay Bay, halfway up. I see the shots coming from Mandalay Bay, halfway up. We have an active shooter. We have an active shooter inside the fairgrounds.
Shots fired from Mandalay Bay. There's many people down. Stage left. Just be advised.
.790 right. I'm going to form a strike team. Mandalay Bay and the Boulevard. I need 5 officers on me.
Control 020.
1757.
For Mandalay Bay, it's getting a little bit more faint.
All units on the 32nd floor, SWAT has explosive breach. Everyone in the hallway needs to move back. All units move back.
Breach, breach, breach.
We need the air clear for Zebra 20. They have 1 suspect down inside the room. Zebra 20 has 1 suspect down inside the room.